Stephen A., what's your reaction to his comments that it's, just another game?
Well, I think that to some degree he's actually telling the truth. I mean, obviously it's not completely just another game because you're returning to OKC, but he was there a couple of times last year. I think it's important to recognize this. It's never going to be as bad as it was last year, I don't believe, because you depart. You made a couple of comments. You left Russell Westbrook hanging. You left the city hanging in their own eyes. But not only is he a great, great player, he was a model citizen for them for 9 years. He represented that community very, very well. And when you take that into consideration and you know that at his core, Kevin Durant is really not a bad guy. He's got his temperamental stuff going on from time to time. He'll get at people like me and others. But he's actually a very, very good guy. And he's a great basketball ambassador and a great, great player. And so when you look at it from that perspective, the vitriol that he received, it's nothing compared to what LeBron had to deal with going back to Cleveland a few years ago when he left for Miami. I mean, that was something serious. Extra security was everywhere. You had people who really wanted to do him harm because his departure had cost the city, the local economy, hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, you had some very, very bitter people. That is, it's sort of like that in Oklahoma City in terms of, well, we miss Kevin Durant, the basketball player, but the person you don't really have much of a problem with. And the fact that Russell Westbrook handled his business the way that he did, and now that they've got Melo and Paul George, you know, it's a different tenor. So I don't think it's the same. It's going to be the same level of vitriol. And as a result, I think it'll be pretty close to normalcy for Kevin Durant compared to what he had to deal with last year.
It's just another game, KD. In the words of Ed Lover, come on, son. It's another game between you and Westbrook.
Ed Lover, my brother.
Come on, son. Another game. Listen, yeah, no doubt. But listen, of course it's not just another game. Maybe, as Stephen A., you just pointed out, it's not going to be the same like the first time you link up. But it's not just another game. And because you're both in the Western Conference right now, you're going to play each other enough that eventually it will feel more normal. But not the second time you play or the third time you play each other. It's not going to be just another game right away, particularly because any team that has KD or Westbrook right now, two MVP caliber players, going to be in playoff contention. They're going to have dreams of winning a championship or at least competing for one, winning a playoff series. So there are going to be implications anytime these two teams link up, anytime teams with each of these guys link up, and then the whole soap opera behind it, the whole backstory behind these two guys. Of course, it's not just going to be another game. I want to say something about KD, Stephen A. You say he's really not a bad dude and all this. KD recently was quoted as saying, I'm not a leader. I'm not a leader. I like being on Golden State because Steph can do his thing. I don't have to think about that. I could just play basketball. And he's going to be excoriated and has been by some for saying something like that. I like KD's presence in the NBA and on planet Earth. He doesn't do things the way we all want him to do them, for better or for worse. He's his own person with his own agenda, his own thoughts about things. He wants to just be a basketball player and contribute. Good for him, and be one of the greatest players ever in spite of the fact that he doesn't want to be a leader and all those kind of things. Where's the Kobe Bryant instinct, all that kind of stuff. Good for him. The world's a more interesting place with him in it and doing his thing. I got no beef with him along those lines. But sometimes, or full stop, and sometimes KD says things to the public that, again, remind me, Stephen A., of the commercial with where, you know, who is it? It's the corner against Des Bryant. And he said, Josh Norman and Des Bryant. Josh Norman's kind of dissing Des Bryant and then denying it to the press. And Des Bryant, the same thing. Dissing Josh Norman over Twitter or whatever it is, but then denying it to the press, right? KD sometimes says stuff publicly where you're like, come on, KD, you can't really believe that. And it's almost like I don't have to tell you guys what I really think.